Welcome, Katie McGrath. It's great to have you today. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Very well, very well. So I really wanted to get into this and into this interview with you because I've had various meditators, Reiki practitioners, and manifestors. If you say
Mm,
that, manifestors, that would be the proper term, I think. I've never had a yoga instructor on, and I got to tell you, it's something I've wanted to pursue for decades, but I've been more tentative and, hesitant to it, even more
mm-hmm.
so than the gym. And it's always been this crazy misnomer to me, like this lifelong thing. And I'm really, really, really excited about talking to you today about this. So,
Well,
a little bit, 1,000 foot. So talk to me about yoga, specifically yin yoga. I don't think I know what that is.
okay. Well, Yin Yoga is a very slow style of yoga. So it's more like a meditation, you could say. So the poses are held from at least 2 minutes, anywhere up to 5 minutes, sometimes 7 minutes, even 10 minutes. So it's definitely a slower style of yoga. And because the poses are held for so long, you're going to help or you're going to gain flexibility. It targets all of those like deeper connective tissues of your body. So stuff like the fascia, you're really getting into your tendons, ligaments. And yeah, for me, all the physical stuff is great, but I think the magic of yin yoga really lies in, as I was saying, like the meditative quality of it. You're
Hmm.
really like, you're stuck in this pose for 5 minutes, you're stuck in your own head, and you have to figure that out. So I think that's the power of yin yoga.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, it's more low intensity. It's about holding positions and holding and releasing tension in in various parts of your body. Like
Yeah.
I have issues with my neck.
Okay.
I'm at this computer an ungodly amount of hours a day.
Right.
Yeah, right. I have a little bit of bursitis in the shoulder, and my lower back is an issue from time to time. All things I think are very much related to ergonomics and positioning
Mm,
and everything.
yeah.
Does the practice get into that? Get into kind of off hours when you're not practicing the stretches and everything, like ways to position your body?
Yeah, for sure. I think yoga in general really helps you bring awareness to your body. So, like, even now I know I'm not sitting well, so I'm not a good example, but like, I do find that during the day, you start to notice when you're slouching. You're just more aware of your body, and I think it definitely does help off the mat as well.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So rewind a little bit for me. Talk to me a little bit about the training involved with this and how long you've been practicing and where you got the education for all this.
Yeah, I started practicing around 2016.
Mm,
So that was just practice. And then eventually I decided I just want to do the teacher training. And I actually did it in the Netherlands, which was a bit random.
mm,
But I was kind of traveling for a while, had left Taiwan, even though I've come back. I had been in Taiwan, had saved up all this money, wanted to go traveling. So I decided to stick on a yoga teacher training onto that adventure.
nice.
And yeah, I did that there. It was like a month-long intensive training. And that was for Hatha yoga. So that's the more like traditional, kind of like typical yoga that you would see.
Hmm.
I did that for a few years, was teaching that. And then I had never heard of yin yoga either.
Yeah.
But I was teaching at a gym. And one benefit of teaching there was that you're able to go to all of the yoga classes. So I was hitting up all of them, and there was this class called Yin. I said I'd go try that out, and I immediately fell in love with it. I was like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the
So,
thing that resonated with you the most. Cause I know
yeah.
there's some pretty high intensity ones. I did one that was kind of like moderate when I was on vacation once. And man, did I feel it afterwards.
Mm,
And this is a long time ago. It was like 20 years ago, but and I probably should practice more frequently, especially for stretching and everything. I know I should stretch
mm,
more. I just got back into an exercise regime where I'm going and doing strength training since March. And
nice.
I, I mean, it's improving things like this
Hmm.
bursitis. starting to go away, which is fantastic. Like just from
Yeah.
the movements alone, and building up the muscle tolerances and everything,
Hmm.
and the strength. But I know how much there's a benefit to yoga with that as well.
Hmm.
And even with low intensity stuff, just literally just stability, right? There's a lot of core work that
Yeah.
happens, right?
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, yin yoga, it's definitely not easy. I don't want to like give that impression because
Right.
you might go try it and then you'll be like, what? This is not what I was expecting. Yeah. So even though it's slow, it's still difficult. But I think personally for me, and I feel like for a lot of students as well, a big challenge is in the mind. That's more of the challenge, I think,
Yeah.
with yin.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about that. So what's the mind challenge of these poses? Does it focus around being calm and being still? And is that the challenge for most people
Yeah,
with
pretty
this
much.
practice?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, of course, you get into the pose, you start thinking of your to-do list, you start wondering what's for dinner, you start doing everything.
Right.
Everything will come into your mind. So
Yeah.
it's such a challenge to just close the door on that for at least 5 minutes. And also, your body is just not going to like this. It's going to say, get out of this, like move. What are you doing? So
Right.
you're always
Right.
like pushing away that temptation to just give up, basically.
We have the strangest inner dialogue because I mean, if you believe in this in the spiritual sense that we're like observing ourselves as in this physical form, and we're spiritual beings, we can get really heady about that. But
Mhm.
at the base level, our brain, like thought, doesn't stop, right?
No.
And when you do a practice like this, and you take the time and you're doing breath work and stretch work like this
Hmm.
yin yoga, it's disconcerting to some people to have to sit in their own thoughts, and
Hmm.
those and a lot of those thoughts. I mean, I don't think most things that come into my head, like I just get these random things that come in, especially when you sit down and you're quiet and still for a little bit.
Yeah,
And I think that's one thing that pushes some people away from certain practices like meditation and everything, because
for
they don't like to
sure.
be in their own head. They like to be distracted,
Yeah, it's
and
scary in there.
but the truth is that if you can work past that moment and those moments to that calm, it allows your brain to just reset,
Hmm.
refocus. All the stress just melts away, and the answers just come.
Hmm.
That's one way I talk to people all the time about my my music career, and how I take these long walks and take a bunch of tracks that I've been working on that I can't seem to get finished. They can't get them across the finish line,
Hmm.
and I'll do a like 6, 7, 8 mile walk, and just you know 2, 3 miles into it, start listening to it completely objective at that point,
Hmm.
because my brain is so clear. The endorphins are kicked in. I'm feeling all the feels at that point, because all the blood's
Hmm.
moving. Everything's moving around, and I have this massive objectivity as far as how I'm going to improve the tracks. And I go back to the studio afterwards and just act on the information that I objectively give myself in that moment.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it one of the best productivity tools I've ever discovered, and it makes sense that people that jump into a practice like this eventually understand that that's exactly what it does, right?
Hmm.
It gives you clarity of mind, it gives you stress relief, it gives you calm, and for the little bit of time, effort, and investment into it, the benefits are far reaching, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So so the origins of it, we talked a little bit about your discovery of this. Did you study all aspects? Did you also go into, like, say, hot yoga or any of these other things, and try to just put your hands into every aspect of yoga, and then finally land on this and just say, nah, this is really the thing that's going to resonate with me?
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't explore lots of different styles of yoga.
Mm,
I like fitness, I'll say
hmm.
that, but like
Yeah.
it's not my thing. I'm never gonna be like, come on girls, you can do it. Like
Yeah.
that's not me. So I always knew I was like more of the like into meditation, into that side of yoga. So no, I never did like every style of yoga. Once I found yin, as I said, I was like, yeah, this is it. I think, I can be awkwardly silent. That's no problem. Like silence is my power. So
Yeah.
yeah, I stuck
That's
with that then.
now, had you always been in, has this always been the kind of work that you've done, or did you come from a completely different background?
Yeah, no, this isn't always what I've done. It's something I've been doing on the side for quite a while now, but I'm actually a preschool teacher.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what brought me to Taiwan, where I am now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it that has application. Yoga and meditation definitely has some application in that space.
Yes.
Kids have a lot of energy and a lot of intensity, and I imagine unwinding from that, that this practice is a perfect thing to pair
Yes,
with a
it
career like
is.
that.
Mm-hmm. And I feel too like it helps me be more patient with them.
Yeah.
Not always, but I think it does help.
I'm sure there are days and children that are challenging, for sure,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
especially at that age. That age
Yeah.
is just, I remember, I have memories of myself at that age, and you said preschool? You said,
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
So that's even,
kindergarten.
yeah, kindergarten was, yeah, I was,
Mm-hmm.
I was a handful. I had a very imaginative mind, and
Mm-hmm.
I got my work done usually before everybody else, and I was a chatty Cathy, so I was constantly talking in class and everything. I'm sure my teachers hated me.
No, we don't hate you. We understand.
Yeah. I question whether my first grade teacher understood, but that's another story entirely. That's okay though. So I explored a little bit of your YouTube channel, and there's so much information there and so many great videos. I wanted to kind of talk about this a bit with you, with my audience, and kind of give them an idea of, like, if they're flat out beginners, how would they go
Mm-hmm.
about starting out and practicing yin yoga? Like, how would you guide them through your video programs?
Yeah, I do have a few videos specifically for beginners, and
Hmm.
I'm actually working on more, so I'm glad you brought that up. I would say definitely start small. I tend to
Hmm.
focus a lot on like 90-minute practices,
Hmm.
so no need to go there yet. That's okay if you don't want to do that. Start with a shorter practice and start with maybe like 2 or 3 minute holds.
Hmm.
So I try to mention this a lot in the videos, but when I give a suggested hold time, like say it's 5 minutes, it's just a suggestion. And if you
Okay.
need to come out of the pose earlier, you're not a bad person. It's fine.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's incredibly important to say to somebody when
Hmm.
they're trying something new like this, because I know for me, what you just said resonates 100%. If I feel like I'm not doing exactly what the program or the instructor's suggesting, that
Hmm.
maybe I'm not getting the full benefit out of it. And it sounds to me like what you're doing, what you're saying is, no, 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 get what you can out of it. And if you can't
Hmm.
hold the whole thing the full time, you're still getting a benefit. Is that
Yeah,
accurate? Yeah.
absolutely. Hmm.
Yeah.
And another thing that I really love about yin yoga is there's no real alignment rules. It's a
Hmm.
very intuitive practice, so it's really about what feels right for you and for your body. So
Okay.
like you don't have to worry about where your knee is or where your hand is or just put it wherever feels good and that's
Yeah.
fine. Mhm.
Yeah, because I've personally, one thing I've had a challenge with over the years is full flexibility, specifically from a standing position to touch my toes right away. Like,
Mm,
I kind of have to stand there and hang from my waist for a little bit,
of
and
course.
within a few minutes, I can actually touch my toes.
Mhm.
And, but that's always bothered me because I'm like, okay, I'm 51. If from 20 years from now, I don't right this situation,
Mm.
I'm going to be stiff and old and crotchety, and I want nothing to do with that. I want to be, that's the whole reason I'm going back to the gym,
Mhm.
and the whole reason I'm trying to, invigorate myself with a little more youthful activity. And,
Yeah.
like, it's not a midlife crisis, but it's a midlife, hey, movement is the stuff of life. You stop moving, you stop living, right?
Yeah.
So I realized early enough that I need to focus on maintaining the machine,
Mhm.
So, but it's really important to me to know that any hold or any hold of any movement is a step in the right direction. And it seems like you come back to those videos until you can hold it for the full amount of time, and then you can graduate to maybe a more advanced video. Does that sound like an accurate description?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, just go at your own pace, whatever you're comfortable with. And even like if you do 5 minutes, like one pose, it's
Hmm.
better than doing nothing. So even I would say, doing 5 minutes is enough.
Yeah. Now,
Hmm.
the tradition, Hatha? Is that what the traditional is?
Hatha.
Hatha.
Yeah.
So that was the one that I discovered on a
Hmm.
vacation. And I remember specifically there being a series of movements, almost feels like a kata, like a Japanese kata. Like you start off in a standing position, opening up your breath, doing breath work at the same time,
Hmm.
you know, to holding positions, to lack of downward dog, upward dog, getting into those floor positions, and then
Hmm.
finishing it out by coming back up and and breathing out everything. That level of movement, is that paired in yin, or is it more like you were saying earlier? It's more hold positions and a tighter amount, like maybe a handful of positions that you change but hold
Yeah,
for longer.
exactly. Yes. And yin yoga is all floor based. So
Okay,
there's only one standing position. And it's what you were describing, where you're kind of hanging, folding forward, maybe to touch your toes, maybe not.
okay,
But yeah, standing forward fold. That's the only standing pose. We call it dangling pose in yin yoga.
okay.
Yeah.
And what's the philosophy behind mostly floor-based positioning? Is there a specific philosophy about that?
I guess one thing you could say is it's much easier when you're sitting to hold the pose compared to if you're
Hmm.
standing and holding it for 5 minutes.
Right.
So I guess it just developed naturally that way. You can just be more comfortable and maybe get deeper into the pose when you're just sitting or lying on the floor.
Yeah, because some of those other styles, some of those holds are quite complex. I've seen
Hmm.
people in a pose where they're on one foot and then the other one's kind of wrapped around the other leg, and they have to
Yeah.
balance on that. I mean,
Hmm.
very much intermediate to advanced positioning and
Yeah,
and
for
pose
sure.
holding, with a series of history of them having some strength training over the course of many years of doing yoga. You could do that. I've always been impressed with those positionings. I mean, I feel like I would break something personally, but after 2 years, maybe I wouldn't feel that way.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah, we.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say we definitely wouldn't hold a pose like that for 5 minutes.
No,
That
right.
wouldn't be it.
No. It feels like that's the kind of pose that very much challenges the muscles and
Yeah.
joints. So
Hmm.
so I have some selfish questions about
Go ahead.
the practice because,
Yeah.
again, as I led off in the beginning of this, it's something I've been interested in over time, but I've always been a little hesitant and resistant to it because I feel like I have some preconceptions that I think I need to strip away and wash away.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
my first example is just this. You've got some videos that go up to 90 minutes long, and my first reaction to that is I have little to no time.
Mm.
Like, how do I get the benefit out of this practice and not spend 90 minutes 5 days a week? And it doesn't
Hmm.
sound like, and I'm saying this is just like an overarching statement, but it doesn't sound like that's necessary. What would you tell somebody like me that has this dumb preconception how to approach things?
Yeah, no, you're right. You definitely don't have to do a full 90-minute practice. I think like each pose holds like a world of benefits. So if you even found your favorite pose
Hmm.
and just tell yourself, I'm going to do that. I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes and I'll just do
Hmm.
that pose. And I
Yeah.
think that's enough. Like, and then all you need to do is find your favorite hip pose, your favorite hamstring pose, your favorite shoulder pose. And it doesn't even have to be 5 minutes. You can hold it for 2 minutes, just whatever you can do. And sometimes, honestly, I'm the same. I don't feel like doing anything, but I tell myself that I'm just like, I really like child's pose. So I'll
Hmm.
say, I'll just get on the mat, I'll do child's pose. And then I find once I'm there, that I'm like, okay, I'll do a little bit more. And then, it keeps going. So I think just if you can get yourself to the mat, that's the hardest part.
Okay. So I'm seeing parallels with the gym. The gym
Yeah.
is get in your car and get to the gym. That's 90% of the effort. And once you're there, like there's been so many times that it's literally like, I'm just going to I'm going to walk through the door.
Mm.
And those are the best exercise days I ever have.
Yeah.
Because I've already won. Because I've already committed to myself to the thing that I know is good for me, even though I hate it. Like, I just don't want to be there, like you're saying. Because there's some days you just don't. Like, again, it comes back to an overarching philosophy I have, which is discipline trumps desire or motivation 1,000%. 1,000%. The act of having the discipline to show up every day for something that's important to you, whether it's the work that you do, the yoga practice that you're engaged in, writing music. You know, I have a regular schedule where twice a week I try to sit down here and just ideate on new patches, whether it's meditation or orchestral or whatever genre I'm playing around with that week. But it's literally just the act of showing up and the discipline of doing so. And the irony is that there are times that I show up for things that I literally, again, don't even think I had any interest whatsoever or motivation, yet what flows through me or what I accomplish in that moment is far superior to anything I would have anticipated for the day. And I think it's pushing past our silly brains that are sitting there trying to make all these excuses because, hey, the path of least resistance, comfort's our happy place. That's where all the dopamine comes from, right? And just find the most comfortable place, but you don't grow without creating a little discomfort. And that's the weird yin and yang of life, right? It's just you have to push beyond your comfort zone to become a better version of yourself. And
gotta get out of your own way.
That's it. And it's a lot more fun if you can look at it from that perspective rather than I've got to do this. No, you get to do this. You're alive. You're alive. There's people on this planet that can't hold those positions because they don't have the mobility to do that.
Exactly.
You know, like I think about stuff like that when I'm like, oh, I don't want to take the time to do this. And it's like, no. This is for you. You know, this is going to make your life better. So how about hip flexors? What would you suggest about that? It's an area that I don't move very well. And I've done half marathons. I've done all sorts of stuff, but for whatever reason, I just don't pay attention to my lower back. So it would be lovely to get some advice in that regards.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have to say yin yoga again, but it actually is a practice that's focused a lot more on the lower body.
Okay.
So, yin yoga has a handful of upper body postures, and then the rest are pretty much all lower body and a lot of hip poses as well. So you could definitely benefit.
Okay. Then I will definitely explore more of your videos, because if that's the case, opening up hip flexors, like I've even started doing on leg day, there's an abductor and adductor machine, two terms I think I was this many years old before I knew even existed. So for anybody out there I do too. I have to look at the picture. I'm like, oh, that's adducting, that's abducting. Okay, that's pushing out, that's pushing in. And anybody that doesn't understand what this means, it's the I don't mean to be like, it's like the stirrup machine at the gym.
Right.
I don't know why I can't really associate. At least my gym, it has it facing a wall and it's a little more, you know, for whoever's using the machine, it's great. But it's basically working your inside thigh muscles and your exterior hip flexors and glutes and all that, and just isolates in a way that I'm like, I wish I had joined the gym again 5 years ago, because I feel like this is creating a whole different ability to flex and have flexibility in my overall lower body and my hips. And
that's great.
It feels like this is kind of kismet that I'm having this conversation with you while I'm exploring that. It's like, oh, I can use some of these poses that you've got specifically for the lower body to help kind of compound those efforts. And over time, it's gonna loosen stuff up. I just don't want to I don't want to be a person of injury as I age, you know? And core stability and joint stability is so much the stuff of life, right?
Yeah, and yin can literally be the yin to your yang. Like it's the perfect complement to your gym routine.
Now, a lot of those lower body poses and the floor poses, I do see that there is some upper back benefit. There's some arching, stretching to it.
Hmm.
It feels like that might be helpful in my shoulder, in regards to my shoulders. Can you suggest any of the particular videos you have that might help with just kind of stretching the overall spine and just,
Yeah, for sure. I have a lot just like dedicated to the back and ones to the upper body. Yeah, they're all in there. And I really like to use props if you happen to have a yoga block
mm-hmm.
and just like putting it behind you on the mat and then just lying back onto it. It's one of my
Now,
favorite things.
is it a stiff, or is it like a hardcore sponge, or like a rubber core? Like what kind of?
Something pretty firm.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I prefer. Maybe you might prefer like just a pillow or a cushion.
Yeah.
But yeah, just
Can you
like
use like the
something that,
rollers, like the foam
yeah,
rollers, or
for
like
sure.
yeah? Because
Yeah.
sometimes, like if I was using, I know what you mean by block, but I think I've used some firmer things that the the contact with the skin and certain parts of the body, I think it becomes distracting for me. And so if
Mm,
something's a little softer in that, on the back or whatever, especially if you're going to hold a position and
yeah.
try to relax.
Yeah,
Granted,
that makes sense.
I have rollers that I can get on those and like my back just cracks. I'm just like,
Mm.
which is a nice side benefit, honestly. But so one big thing about this practice is knowing the following: when's a stretch too much? What
Mm.
and when should somebody notice that they're pushing it too much? What
Yeah,
would be some good advice in that regard?
that's a good question. I'm glad you brought it up. Definitely, of course, if you're feeling pain, then it's time to come back. Anything sharp, anything shooting. And in yin yoga, we like to feel a little bit uncomfortable, but too much discomfort is too much. We don't like that. And it's a practice that as you get to know your body, you get to trust yourself and you really can listen to it a lot better, I feel. So it's definitely like maybe when you're starting the practice, you really want to get into the pose and like see how deep you can get into it. And ego will really take over and try make you do that. But
Mm-hmm.
the more you
Yeah.
practice, the more you like learn to just let go and to hold back. And I feel like you really can develop that relationship where you trust your body and you can pick up on those signals when it's telling you to back off.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
definitely pain. And again, or I should say, in addition, the next day, if you're really feeling, you'll feel if you've done too much, and then you need to pare it back a little bit next time.
yeah. So if you've got a 5 minute, say a 5 or 10 minute pose hold, and
Hmm.
you hold into it and you feel too much and you pull back,
Hmm.
is it common practice to kind of wax and wane between holding it a little tighter, getting it a little deeper, like testing the waters, like, okay, I held this for a minute, it felt a little too deep, I'm going to pull back a little, I'm going to pull a little bit off of it, I'm going to hold the position still, but then I'm going to retry and see if I
Uh-huh.
can get deeper into it. Is that a normal like progression of that hold? So the hold's not
Yeah.
totally static, right? Like you're kind of
No.
working that time frame through holding it deeper.
Yeah. That's exactly what you've described is what we call the first principle of yin yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And some people call it playing your edges. So
Okay.
just as you said, like you get into the pose and then you're like, okay, am I as deep as I could go? Am I being invited to go a bit deeper? And then if you are, you can go that bit deeper. Or I like to think of it like you just get into the pose and you find that first place of resistance. So as soon as you feel it, you stop there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's kind of like the goalposts will move. Now to
Yeah.
feel it again, you have to go that bit further. And then they'll move again, so you have to go that bit further. And yeah, you're always doing that within the pose.
So do you still have a goalpost, having
Oh
practiced for
yeah,
so many years? Like
absolutely.
there's still a level you can push to?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like my goalposts are still quite close.
So one thing I've touched on overarching, but haven't really discussed in the whole process of holding these poses is breath work. How is breath work incorporated into the yin yoga practice and yoga overall?
Yeah, with yin yoga, the breath is kind of seen as like moving energy around your body. And one thing when you're in a pose, you'll naturally bring your attention to it.
Hmm.
And it's said that when you do that, like that activates your parasympathetic nervous system and it'll start to like naturally relax that area of your body. And
Hmm.
then I like to kind of use the breath to propel that system a bit more. Like you're always breathing down into your hips and then helping get rid of the tension as you exhale. But there's a lot of different methods you can use, like different breathing exercises as you're in the pose.
Hmm.
But I'd like to just let it be personal preference. Like for some people, doing a breathing exercise might help, or it might not. Like they might feel better just being a bit more still in the pose.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So with more shallow breathing and just kind of just one with themselves in the pose and the stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and just, when you're sitting with yourself in the pose, you can definitely train yourself to breathe deeper. I think that's a great benefit of just focusing on your body, on your breath. I think you naturally start to open up a lot more and you start breathing deeper too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
even that can be enough.
I found that personally, if I'm stiff and I kind of hold a stretch for a long enough period, I have, like you said, a parasympathetic automatic response. Sometimes you're just
Mm.
like I'm like, where'd that come from? It's like, well, whatever tension you were just holding there that you just held a stretch for a little while and then you felt the release is your body just kind of like, oh, thank you. Just,
Mhm.
oh, that's wonderful. So we know where to find your work. What's your YouTube channel again?
It's Yin Yoga with Katie.
And what are some of the best videos to start with? You would
If
say
you
like,
type, yeah, if you type beginner in with
mm-hmm,
that as well, a few videos will come up that I have on the channel they'll teach you the three principles of Yin Yoga. I
okay,
think I don't like to say anything is easy because maybe what's easy for me might not be for other people, but they're
sure,
relatively speaking some of the easier poses and the hold times are about 2 or 3 minutes, so hopefully not too intense.
okay, very cool. And you also have, I noticed you have a Substack, I think that you
I
started,
do, yeah.
and do you discuss various things around Yin Yoga with that?
That's kind of a bit more of my like creative outlet. I do
Okay,
break down the poses, but it's something I kind of try take like the symbolism of the pose and just talk about that.
very cool, very cool.
Yeah,
And
it's
we
been
can
a good
find you on
one.
socials too, right?
Not so much,
No,
mostly
I found you
YouTube.
on Facebook,
Did
so
you?
yeah, I found your
Oh,
Facebook page, but not through YouTube, but just through a cursory search and just to see if you had a social media presence around. It's
yeah.
exhausting, trust me, with the whole music thing. Trying to stay on top. I have a social media manager for that reason alone because
Okay.
I don't have the time for it, and I wouldn't have time for creativity or this or anything else if I didn't have somebody helping me out. So, but it's a great way. I mean, it's a great way to get it in front of people for sure.
Mhm.
And it's one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on because I saw some of the videos and I was just fascinated by the fact that I'm like, oh, I think some of this stuff is going to work for me. But I want to talk to Katie and I want to see what it's all about and just explore it a little deeper and celebrate what you're doing creatively here. And it sounds like you're having fun with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, it
Yeah.
was really lovely to have you on today. I'm so glad that you took the time to speak with me. And again, your YouTube channel is called. Can you just repeat it for my guests so they or my audience rather, so they know how to find you?
Yeah, it's Yin Yoga with Katie.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thanks so much. I appreciate you, and
Thank you for having me on.
I look forward to exploring more of your videos.
Thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know.
Okay, we'll do.